Yo, welcome to the Put Up, everybody. It's A.K.A. the Wizard, and this is episode 23 of season 2. It's going to be a great episode this afternoon because I got somebody from all the way across the world joining me. I'm going to announce them in a minute, but first of all, like, share, and subscribe if you're joining us today. It's the Put Up, where we put up a different artist each week on Sunday afternoons and tell their entire story from the beginning to the end, and what they're up to now and how to stay following with them as they do their next projects. And you get to hear a couple music breaks. So stick around to hear a couple tracks from the artist today. And also, there's a sign-up sheet available below and some merch. So we got like t-shirts and of the Put Up and all kinds of things on the site. So there's a link down below. And yeah, if you're interested in getting on as an interview for the Put Up, there's that link down there too. So check that out if you want. But without further ado, we're going to bring on our guest. And I totally forgot to ask how to pronounce his name before we started, but whatever. We're going to go with it anyways. Please help me welcome Gurvansh Batra to the Put Up today. How do you say it, bro?
Perfect. You got it on point. That was perfect. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, man. Welcome to the Put Up.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here.
Yeah, man. We're going to have a good time this afternoon, right?
We can have a lovely time, hopefully, and people who are listening to us could probably get some information and some, education for both of us, not just me. I want it to be like both ways because everybody's got a valuable experience.
Yeah, man, for sure. And tell everybody where you're from.
Okay, so sorry.
Yeah, it's the farthest I've ever done a Put Up episode before. You're in Australia, right?
We're the other part of the world, but technically, I'm actually from India. I was born in India, and that's where I was raised. I moved to a couple of places, lived in Long Island, lived in UK, then Singapore, and
oh my gosh,
now I'm in Australia, and it's lovely. I'm here. Like I'm not technically an artist. Like I'm not 100% musician. I tend to do it as like a hobby and more like a part-time stuff. But since it's been getting so much attention and so much love from people, I continue it through so many years. Made some beautiful connections. So I've been trying to balance the life, and it's been really nice. But yeah, that's the mostly how that's the influence in my music as well. Probably once you go and listen down, or if you get time, so you would see like hints of everything popping up, and like amalgamation of all the ideas and of who I am, or like who I was, how I've been to, and people I've been talking to. So yeah,
that's crazy. You've been all over the world, eh? And just like lived different spots like that. That's amazing. Because I've always lived like where I was born. It's amazing.
Right.
So you've experienced all these different like cultures and things, right?
Cultures, the way people think about stuff, the way people interact, the way people talk about everything, because everybody has like a different opinion and the way of speaking. Some people may sound like very rude, but they're actually not rude. And once you actually go out and talk to more people, you start to understand that yeah, these people are actually just not nice people. It's just the way of speaking, and the language sounds to be a little bit rude, or the tone sounds to be like that. And some people sound to be very soft. At the same time, they're not very soft. That's the beauty of meeting a lot of people. But I've been blessed, I would say.
Nice. Well, okay, we're gonna get into the interview. Just take us right back to like, how did you get started making music in the first place as an artist?
Right, it's gonna be a long story, but bear with me. So, I never actually wanted to make music in the first place. I think the idea of making music comes from telling what's going inside me and expressing it in an artistic way. So, funny enough, I started as an art. I would say a director actually. So I was actually making short movies beforehand. So that's how I was introduced to music from there, because you have to like amalgamate the music, kind of the moods and the settings and everything, and that's how I was introduced. And it was in 2018, so I was still 18 years old.
Okay.
So I just got introduced to that, started working, and it was pretty nice actually. It was like a team effort. So I worked in one of the few music videos of an artist that was in India, And once I worked over there, I was like pretty fascinated. Like, this is really nice. This is how people can use an art form to express themselves, and visually they can show themselves in a certain way. And that's where I started off. And for like for like an year or 1.5 years, I continued that. And then, the pandemic hit, and everybody was like at their homes, and I wasn't like been able to work on a project, especially as like a director, or like,
Yeah, I
especially as
guess you were
someone
just
who.
like stuck inside kind of thing, right? So like had to
Exactly,
go out and
exactly,
shoot
exactly.
things.
Right. And that's when I started to listen to more music and started to understand, what the music. Started to learn this platform called FL Studios, apparently.
Yeah.
and and that's how it started. So for 2 years, me and my friend would just sit down on Discord, like endlessly making weird kind of beats and music, and it was most like a score, just to like, we had idea, maybe afterwards we would just try to make something that is more cinematic and is more grand, and it fits like the mood of the short movies. But eventually it started to turn up into hip hop because we were listening to that kind of genre more, inspired by a lot of artists, because how I think through that generation, a lot of cinematic stuff started to come, like cinematic elements and stuff. Everything started to come in hip hop as well, or maybe we started discovering it pretty late. That could be also the idea.
It's all this
So
mixed in, right?
yeah, exactly. So that's how we started producing, and I think for a couple of years we produced a lot of tracks, and I was in touch with a lot of people. Started to go out and talk to. I think that's one good thing that I've learned from talking to people is communication is very important, and that's how people feel comfortable with you. And the way you're making me comfortable right now, that's I really appreciate that.
Yeah, heck
So
yeah.
exactly. So that's how we started, and I think I made like a beat which I was really happy with, and it was like a very amalgamation of when I was living on Long Island. So I was like exposed to a lot of hip hop, and when I was in India, I was exposed to a lot of Indian instruments, like the typical instruments. And I was like, I'm just gonna like blend them off, and I just prepared like one beat, and I was like, this is the best beat of my life, and I'm gonna use this, and I'm gonna have like a fire artist, and we're gonna produce some music. But unfortunately, for India, I never used it. So
Well,
I was like, maybe this is the time I gotta do it myself.
and
And
so
I
that's
work
your
with.
voice on these tracks too, right?
Yeah, that's my voice on these tracks too. So I met this artist from New Zealand, and he technically New Zealand people have called Maori people, if I'm not wrong. And Maori is like the kind of language and the culture that they have in New Zealand. And he talked me through it, and
Interesting.
he taught me how he used to rap, and that's how it started. And so that's from started from there. And then I met someone from North Carolina, and once you meet from NC, you know where the hub is. He's and that's how it started off. And I think I started to get into rap a bit. So the first track did took me like 6 to 7 months just to write and just to do the vocals and stuff. And yeah, so I produced a song called These Burdens, talking about how people change when there's like small, they want to be someone who's an adult, and once you're an adult, you want to be someone who's younger. So
So true
yeah, so
too.
that was the idea. And I think from that's where I started writing off. And most of my writing comes from there, from personal experiences. Good thing is, like, I know myself visually and how I can present myself visually. But since I am technically an architect, which people don't know,
An
because I never
architect.
tell them. Yeah, so I think that helps me a lot, because it also it's like a very creative field. It helps me a lot, vice versa. Music, art, architecture, everything just gets in, and I think that's what I am personally made of, I guess, and that's my
Man, that's
art.
amazing actually. Like crafting buildings and songs, you know? That's crazy.
Yeah. I usually just play my tracks in my building, so just like Ruben couldn't stare me in my tracks are playing. I'm just mumbling that. That's
There
good
you go.
content,
Well, I thought it was interesting that you're like singing in your like native tongue when you like do those songs, right?
right?
That's the coolest part because like I expected you to have like more of an accent when I talk to you. It's crazy.
Right.
But then you've been all over the world, so it's like multifaceted by this point, right? Such an interesting
Um.
person.
Yeah, I had this. So like most of the time, I'd be talking to people outside. I mean, outside
Right.
of the not in India. India does makes a lot of music, right? People
Right.
usually think it's like Bollywood music and it's gonna be like hardcore Bollywood. But you recently see Hanuman kind of just blow up and show you like how we actually do hip hop there. It was like such a big thing in the States as well. But yeah, I think we've been making music in English as well and different languages. And there's like so many languages there. I was thinking about doing English, not gonna lie. I was like, I could do
Interesting.
English. It's not that tough. But I feel like once you start to speak the language that you brought up with and what you're more comfortable with, you can tell those ideas and they don't sound fake.
Yeah,
So
true, right?
it's better to
Just
be
kind of comes
genuine and
naturally to you
yeah,
or whatever. Yeah.
yeah, it's better to be genuine because I feel people unconsciously understand if you're not being genuine and if you're just trying to pretend someone. And I feel like that is actually bad for you as an artist because if you're not genuine about what you're trying to do, you're never gonna like it. It's just gonna be like a thing that you're trying to,
Like
achieve or like a
posing in a
task
way,
you're trying.
right? Like, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly,
Interesting.
perfect.
Well, yeah, you answered my second question. Your style and sound. Yeah, like that's the whole point of it then, right? It's amazing.
Yeah. So the language that I do is called Punjabi, which is
Okay.
part
Yeah,
of the
because they have
North
so many
India.
different dialects there, right?
Exactly. There are more like 200 languages actually.
Yeah,
And
man.
if
Because
you
I
ask
worked with a
me,
bunch of different ones at Research in Motion way back, like making BlackBerry smartphones, and
Mhm.
that's why I learned all about like Punjabi people and like that entire area of the world, India, right? It's like very lots of things going on there. It's crazy,
I would be honest, if you bring like a North Indian and a South Indian, I would understand a South Indian. So
right? It's like
I
French
wouldn't
people
understand what
here.
that guy.
Like we literally can't understand them like one province over from us, you know? It's the craziest thing.
Right, right. And I think that's the beauty of, and I think every person is different. Like Punjabi people are more vocal about stuff. They're more,
True, different
I would
cultures and
say,
societies, right? Like
yeah,
totally
yeah.
different than a Canadian person, per se, right? Like it's
I would say
amazing.
Canadian people know a lot of Punjabi people. I've been to Canada, so
Yeah, yeah. Well, there's a lot of them
yeah,
here too. It's
yeah.
like I've worked with almost only. Like we were some of like I think there was 4 or 5 of us on the line with them, and the rest were like Punjabi people, right?
Right, right, right.
Probably the nicest humans I've ever worked with, to be honest. Like it's amazing. That was
I
like
would say
multicultural there. Yeah. It's crazy.
I would say it takes one to know the other. So
I guess.
exactly,
Okay, so like
exactly.
when you go to make music, like what inspires you to like make those songs that you make? Like where do you get the ideas and stuff from?
That's a good question. So I was answered in parts if that's okay with you.
Yeah, for sure.
So first of all, it was just show off for me. So I was trying to be someone else too. It wasn't the first instinct when I was just being myself. So my first instinct was, oh my god, J. Cole. Oh my god, Travis Scott.
Yeah,
So
true,
I had
right?
like that idea
Try and
of
be
just
like
trying to,
them.
yeah, copy those artists. But I think it's good to copy those artists at first because if you're trying to understand the craft, you need to learn from some people. You need to learn how to do stuff. So
That
even
makes
if you're
perfect
copying
sense.
stuff, that's not wrong. That's okay. But that should be like a building block for what you're trying to do. And I think that was a good start. So all of my early tracks, they were like just trying to pretending to be someone else. Then I slowly started to listen to more artists, and I understood that all these people are not talking about me. I'm not trying to relate to them. I understand their music. I love the way they're expressing themselves. Why don't I express myself in a certain way? And through the middle project was the middle part of the way where I knew like how these styles work and how these guys express themselves. So using like a similar kind of typology and blending it in my kind of way or my ideas. So that was the second part of what was trying to do, and I still pretty like make projects or drop projects which are kind of like of the similar genre because I had an idea that before coming to Australia I would probably not be able to make music. So I did like 90 tracks in like 2 months. And I was
Wow.
like
That's a
stacked. I was
lot.
like, okay. Yeah, I was like, I'm just gonna drop stuff. Nobody's gonna know I'm in Australia. I'm just gonna work my stuff and I'm just gonna drop projects. Everybody's gonna think like, oh yeah, he's dropping projects. So I still have projects from last year.
That's
And the
crazy,
ones
eh?
that I'm making right now are still not they are
And the
not
ones we're
released
gonna
right
hear
now.
today are coming out in like October, right?
October, November, I haven't even decided
Yeah,
yet, to be very
crazy.
honest.
That's amazing.
But
So you're like you're working on like defining who you are over time with your like making of
right,
songs too, right?
right. And then the third part, that's right now, that comes where I started to understand, okay, now I know what I want to do. Now I know what kind of sounds I want to pick up. Because earlier it was like whatever beautiful project I would hear, I was like, okay, maybe I want to do something inspired from this, or maybe I want to do something inspired from that. So
And it would
now I
always
know
be
the
like
kind of
attached to something, right? Like
right.
something else at that point, right?
Yeah, perfect. You got
Interesting.
it. And now I am at a point. I think this happened like in December, or no, not even December, October. So October, November, December, January, February, and now this we're recording in March. So like these 6 months have been just been developing my own sound in a way that what defines me as a person. And I think I the things that I observe from people as well, and what defines me as an artist in terms of delivery, in terms of how I want to do stuff and everything. And I think it's now I'm pretty happy what I'm getting, and the people that I show music to, and the people who have been very kind to give time to my music, because I think they're if you go on Spotify, you can listen to Drake and not me, and they still listen to
I
me. That's a
guess.
very
I
big thing. So
never thought of
my
it like
point
that
is
before, right? Yeah.
exactly because you're competing with a big artist as well. You have to
And a
understand.
100 million others or whatever, right?
Exactly. Exactly. So it's how you define your music and how people relate to you. And I think that's the idea. Like you cannot actually win everyone. You can just win a certain group of people. And I just want those people to be the one who are, I would say, pretty calm, pretty soothing and stuff. So I think now my kind of music moves around how we can just stay calm and spirituality and that kind of stuff. And because I feel
Nice.
myself that I ask like a lot of questions, and I think I never get answers from that. Sorry if I'm speaking too much.
No, no, it's
So
okay. This is great information for other people too.
yeah, so I think yeah, whatever I observe, whatever I feel, I just try to put that in the songs in some kind of way, and to give that emotion. So my delivery is very breathy, it's very soft, and I feel most of people, like a lot of people that I meet, are soft and very delicate. But I feel we don't make those many songs which is very delicate, which is very breathy, or which is, I mean, breathy might be, but like very soft or very delicate, or very nicely put up or nicely said. I think I feel like a lot of content that we consume is pretty much I'm gonna do that, or my bitch is
It's
like that,
very
and I
hype,
sorry
yeah,
for the
like
bad
ninety
language.
percent, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it's mostly that, and I think people relate to that too. But at certain point of time, and especially when trying to do like a late night drive, or like they're gonna sleep, or they want to have like a good time, or like a smoothing time, or like everybody's different moods. So I think that's where I want to fit my category in. I'm not gonna be the one who's just gonna be in the clubs. So
Yeah, it's
I'm happy
crazy.
with
Like we saw this artist a couple nights ago even, and my wife was like, "Yo, you got to listen to this music outside."
right,
Like it just like paints a certain picture in your head when you hear certain things, you know what I mean? That's
right,
amazing. So yours is like that calm kind of feeling, you know?
yeah,
Chilling
calm and
out. Like
soothing.
and like
Yeah,
even when you said like you listen to the put ups while doing like schoolwork or whatever, you know what I mean? That same kind of thing.
right, exactly. That's the idea.
Yeah, that's
Just
crazy.
making you calm, I guess.
Nice. Okay, so walk us through the process from like when you get an idea to make a song all
Hmm.
the way to like having it released. How does that look for you?
Right. So I would say first idea for me is understanding what I'm trying to write, and if that makes sense, and
Yeah.
how that makes sense as a person for me. Am I just doing it just because I want my music to reach more people, or am I doing it as a process that I want to maybe think or maybe help people understand something new now? Like for example, I had this perspective that what if I have this project and I talk about love, but it's not about love, it's actually about destiny. So you have this duality where you're thinking about, oh, maybe I'm talking about love, but it's actually destiny. That I want to get you, but I can't. Or maybe I try to get you a lot. I try to, run after you a lot, but I could not get you. Or I'm still running behind you. So I feel like that's the idea, and how we could just mold in different parts. And I want, like, because it's very soothing, right? That the approach that I take. So I don't want it to be like too indirect. I want it to be direct in a way, but it should be something that means deeper than what's being said. So that's how I started to talk about it, and then ideas come from the kind of instruments I want to use, and I've got a team. I've got a mixing engineer. I've got a few producers who just sit down, and like few writers as well. So we just
Nice.
sit down. We talk about how we could talk about certain kind of stuff, and they give me a scratch, and most of the writing I do myself. But sometimes I like the way other guys give the approach, because I feel like if you're on a project, if you're constantly doing that project yourself, you never get the idea to explore more people and more expect or perspective.
Get
Sorry.
different perspectives in on something, right?
Right, right, right. Because, and I feel like that's the beauty of it. And I feel like the tracks that I'm trying to do right now, they are also very sensitive in terms of the way that it could offend people in a,
Mm.
in some point of way. Because problem is, if you think about something in a one perspective, you don't know if the other person can get offended, and you probably didn't mean that, but at the same time you're like, oh, I never meant that, I just made this and I spent so much time, and I'm trying to show you a certain perspective, but you're not trying to be able, and that there comes the conflict. So I feel like when you have more people and more perspectives on the same thing, and you feel like I'll explain what I'm trying to say, because
Almost
I
makes
write
like
a
a
lot of
more
songs.
neutral project or something, right? Like
Yeah, yeah.
having those different
Maybe,
opinions or
yeah, maybe we could just tone down a bit, not like too, it's like
yeah, they're
too
gonna
much.
let you know, right?
Right, right. I'm like, okay, maybe this, do you think it's too much? Because I write a lot about spirituality and God, not in a way that, not in a religion perspective, in more of like a questioning perspective. And I don't want those questions to be kind of blames. So
Mm,
that's where the thin line
interesting.
comes. Because sometimes we just start becoming angry when you're asking questions, or the tone starts to be angry.
It's true, man,
So
right?
yeah,
Well, yo, I
but
think
that's
we're
the
gonna
idea.
hear one of these tracks, bro.
Okay, perfect. Let's do it.
I think the first one we have up today is called Bare Minimum. Tell the people about Bare Minimum.
Right. So bare minimum is actually a kind of track which is not talking about God. It's more about destiny, and it's talking about how the idea, the bare minimum comes, where you try to do something and it's not actually that much. So this track talks about how even if you try to achieve something, it feels like bare minimum when you see the whole perspective of the destiny. But if you just keep up that, it's gonna eventually happen. And I feel like I'm trying to create like a story from my catalog to drive upon this idea of an album that I have. And this is a very essential track from it, because it talks about also love in kind of way, and also being isolated or being alone. And I feel a lot of people don't talk about that these days. They talk in a very negative perspective, or very, I would say, sad perspective. But this one talks about a much more brighter perspective, I guess.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Well, yo, let's roll it. Let's hear that.
perfect.
तेरे बिना आँखें ने क्यों भीगी भीगी, तेरे बिन क्यों ना लगे मेरा जीवी, तेरे बिन क्यों सुनी लगन भी रातें, तेरे बिन क्यों चली जावे दे एहसास। रुक भी जाऊं न सुन ले मेरी गल नू तू भी माही, मैं तां चुनिया तेनू मेरे इरादा पक्का राही। तू ना जा दूर मन ले मेरे दिल दी ये गवाही, दिल नी लगना जे तू होया ना मेरे तो राजी। राजी ता रब भी होंदा देंदा रज़ा, तू ता मनी बैठी बुरा देंदी सजा। ऐना की कीता के तू होए या खफा, मन ले भी गल मेरी ऐदा ना तरसा। किन्ना करा मैं तेरा ऐना ता रब नी मेरा, सुन ले भी मेरा कहना मैं ता कदों दा कहरा। किन्ना करा मैं तेरा ऐना ता रब नी मेरा, किन्ना मैं करा तेरा रब भी ना इन्ना जाने तू ता भजी जावे देवी जावे ने बहाने तेरे पीछे ता मैं भी लिखी जावा किन्ने गाने सोचा सी मैं कि तेनू कोल बिठा सुनाने हुण मन भी मेरा लगदा ना चारो तेरी कहरा जाना तेरी हो किन्ना करा मैं तेरा इन्ना तारा बनी मेरा सुन ले भी मेरा कहना मैं ताका दोदा कहरा किन्ना करा मैं तेरा इन्ना तारा बनी मेरा सुन ले भी मेरा कहना मैं ताका दोदा कहरा कह दोदा किन्ना करा मैं तेरा इन्ना तारा बनी मेरा सुन ले भी मेरा कहना मैं ताका दोदा कहरा किन्ना करा मैं तेरा इन्ना तारा बनी मेरा सुन ले भी मेरा कहना मैं ताका दोदा कहरा
And we're back. The song you just heard right there was Bare Minimum by Gurvansh Batra. I think I said it right again.
You perfectly said it.
And what do you got to say too?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say that subscribe, like, and share.
Yes, perfect. But yo, we're gonna hop back into this interview. That was a great track, actually. I couldn't understand a damn word of it, but I loved the actual sound of like the instrumentation and everything about it. You know?
Thank you so much. That's very kind of you.
Yeah, man. So let's get into like a little bit more serious stuff now. The biggest challenge that you've had since you started being an artist.
Right. I would say the biggest challenge I had is maintaining a team of individuals who are like.
Now, was it hard to
properly-
find them in the first place, or was it like keeping the right ones, or like how does that work?
I think that's a very delicate way to say it. That way I'm trying to say. Point is like you meet a lot of people who have the same ideas at the start of the journey, and they want to have like the same mindset. They want to have like the same position where you are. But I think eventually time and situations make it very hard for them, and sometimes you just overgrow them. So it's very difficult to detach some person, and they kind of know that it's happening, and you just have to like plainly say it. Like for example, when I started off, I had like a team of different mixing engineers, of different producers, and through these years, I've been juggling with here and there, and I did not have like a very stable team at first, and maybe you started to. I had like mixing engineers who were just starting out as well. So maybe their way of sound or their way of treating a particular sound wasn't the sound that I was liking, so I had to switch over. So I think
So it's like finding the right things over time.
yeah. And I think it's also about growing out, like outgrowing them in certain kind of way, or maybe just trying to understand more stuff, and you slowly learn more as you grow and you educate yourself, right? So you understand. And I think the people who are willing to learn with you are usually the ones that you can associate more, right? And no hate and no disrespect to people who have already been with you. So I am in touch with all of them, but my point is like, I started to feel like, okay, maybe I can have these people as someone I would get afterwards. And right now, the kind of things that I'm chasing right now, these are the guys that have helped me with that. So I
Nice.
think having a team where like-minded individuals and people who understand your sound, and people who study your sound before, because most people who are just right there like, oh, I just want to make money, man.
Yeah,
You know?
there's so many of them. Like any post you see on a social media network now where somebody's asking for an engineer, like 7,000 comments underneath it. Like, I can help, I can help, I can help, I can help, right? It's like not everybody can help. You know what I mean?
And the thing is, we always usually go for someone. Oh, you're doing it $50. Oh yeah, let's do it.
True. A lot of times,
And
price has to do with it. Yeah.
yeah, so what we don't understand is like, you can have person who's doing $50, that's fine, but does that person understand the kind of vision that you want, or maybe he's just there to make money, you know?
Right.
Because there's gonna be problems.
Yeah, there's gonna be both
Because
types of people too,
yeah,
right? Like,
yeah, because there's gonna be problems because they are not gonna understand what you're trying to say, and you're not gonna understand what they're trying to say, because you don't know everything and they don't know everything. So you have to find that bridge where you start to understand each other.
right.
And I think that's very important for a project that you're trying to do, or the kind of things that you want to say to the people. And I feel like the listeners might not understand that eventually, like consciously, because they don't know what the particular term is, or they don't know particular what that is, but unconsciously, because they're listening to so many artists and so many top tier people, that unconsciously they know that there's something wrong with this, but I don't know what the wrong is.
And it goes
You
back
know?
to your same thing about what was I gonna say? About like just being authentic, and like more
Yeah.
authenticity will come out when you're working with the right kind of people, right?
Right. Perfect. So yeah, that was the idea. And I think, yeah, so if you have like a good team, if you have like individuals who are willing to grow with you as well and trying to, improve as well, I think that's the best thing you can get. And I think that's the hardest part.
Okay, so on the flip side of that, like what's like the easiest part, the most successful part that you've experienced so far?
The easiest part for me is just take an inspiration from someone else and mold it in your kind of way and use the same kind of sounds or like the same kind of ideas and express them, and you can see like, oh yeah, this sounds like this, it's very catchy, I like it, and everybody just saves it. And it's very difficult to show a particular kind of new sound and you're trying to say, and people are going to reject that at first, because obviously music has like a retained value that comes eventually and not straight away. So you will feel rejected at first, and the easiest part would be just trying to make something that someone already has, have like a trap beat and start rapping. So I think that's gonna be the easy
You know,
part
the
of it.
craziest thing too is like we just started playing live like in the past year. Me and my wife as a duo, right? And we do a lot
Right.
of covers, right? And it's
Right.
like people want to hear that familiar sound, that familiar thing that they're used to already, even if it's you
Yeah.
doing it, right? It's so interesting. We're like creatures of
I don't
habit.
I don't think that that's a bad habit. I think it's a good thing. But I feel like if you're trying to create something original or a name for yourself, you're gonna have a lot of rejection at first. So
True. Like original things, yeah. And
yeah.
you know what? I did a show the other night there, and like it was the most flattering thing right on stage there when he was like, and you guys do like the original songs, and they're just kind of like the same thing as all the other stuff that's happening when you do your covers. I was like, oh, thank you so much. I was like, I don't want there to be these tinkly weird things that people notice of like spikes out of the night. You know what I mean? Like you want it to just fit in. You want it to be natural sounding no matter which one it is, right?
Yeah.
It's the key to the whole thing, man, in my opinion. Okay,
And
so
I think
sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. I was just saying that most of the people or the new artists that I meet, they're very revolting about just stuff that people don't listen to new sounds. And I think I thank a lot of people who are willing to listen to new content or new sounds or new music or new projects. I think those people should be appreciated. No one's appreciating those people, because those are like the main audience or those are like the main feedbacks you start
Those
getting
are
when
the
you
guys
meet
that
someone new.
yeah, man. They're not gonna just like judge everything and just stop in the middle and stuff like that, They actually take time out of their day to like not just listen to Drake. You know what I mean? Like that kind of idea. Yeah, it's like the gems of the music industry.
But yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we'll talk about like the technical stuff. Like, how do you record your music when you make a song? Do you have like your own little rig? Do you go to a studio? Like, you work with mix engineers. Do you like send your stuff over to them? Do you see them in person? Like, how does all that work?
Right. So at the start, I think it was just me and one more person that I used to record with, and we had just had them like a one mic and like an interface. That's how we used to do the most of the time. But then once I started to get serious and I had to record those like 90 songs or like 100 songs, I started going to the studio, and I think it
Nice.
helped me a lot because the studio person, when when you're paying someone, and I think they're trying to help you, you can just understand that, yeah, you know what, he's actually trying to help me, and he's not just one guy who's just here to make money. And I was very blessed that I got someone that I'm still in contact with him. So it was back in India. So I had a studio. I usually just used to hire. So my process was writing for a week and then recording 4 songs in just one weekend. And
Wow, that's a lot of work.
yeah, I feel happy actually. I was working at the same time. So I was working in an architecture office. So 10 a.m. to like 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. I used to work, and then 8 p.m. to like 12 a.m. just used to write all the time. That was my idea, and I feel like it was pretty nice. I just used to go to the studio, and it was really nice to record a lot of songs. But at the moment, since I'm outside, I usually just have my own kind of stuff. So I usually just try and make what all the things that I have and just have a mic, and I try to record that way. But I think it came through a lot of process, a lot of recording, a lot of experience in the studio. So I think a studio is very important if someone's trying to start out. Like,
Yeah, it's interesting to like because they usually have nicer stuff, everything's acoustically treated really well, right? Like
exactly.
all that. So like to experience that first, I actually went to school for it, right? So like
Yeah,
that's where I
perfect.
started. Yeah, like I was doing it amateurly in an attic before that, right? But like to just have that experience of like the console and the professional people around you and stuff like that, right? Is going to shape you to do that differently when you're in a like your own house with the mic kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Right, right,
You're going to
right.
understand things that other people that just do it in their house they're not going to ever have seen that stuff before, right?
True,
Yeah, that's
true.
really cool. I like it.
I feel like people also like underestimate the idea of normal. I feel like people need to accept the idea because most people are like, "Oh, why are you going to like expensive studio? I could just do the same thing at my home." True, but you should go and experience that as well. Experience that and
Yeah,
do the
man.
same thing at your place. That's fine.
Because I remember like before I took recording school back in like 2012, right? And like
Hmm.
we toured. This is how I was like, I'm going. You know what I mean? Is because like I went to a different city over from ours, and it was like Metalworks Studio where like Lil Wayne recorded in Canada, right? And like
Right,
we got to go through this tour and like just for free and see the place and like the place where Celine Dion first sang for the A&Rs for the record label in that same room. You know what I mean? And just all this
wow,
classic history. Yeah, that's what I mean, right? So like to just be in that room and like, holy jeez, look at this place. You know what I mean? It's a totally different experience. It's like it almost as a musician and artist, it makes you like know you're in the right spot. You know what I mean? And like
right,
this is meant for me to do. You know? Yeah.
right.
I suggest every artist that ever wants to record or has just started to go and do something like that, just to experience those places. You know what I mean? Like we got to like
Yeah.
learn inside of $1 million studios, and now I'm not in one today, but like just having been there, it gives you an entirely different perspective on the entire music industry, right?
What do you think? What kind of motivation do you get when you visit the studio or like those kind of settings? Because I've
Right.
never been to those, unfortunately. So I just want to know your experience.
Yeah, man. Even down in like London, like where Doc is, right? Is like where
Right,
my mastering engineer and mentor and everything was, and he was a teacher at the college when I was there, right? And I mean, just
right,
to walk into that place, you're like, wow, you know. I've booked it out and rented it once to do like a movie, actually, to do like a 5.1 mix with like a
right.
director and everything. Yeah, and it was just like, yeah, it's totally different feeling when you're in a place like that, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I totally agree, man. I haven't been so fortunate to like go in a studio or like go in a place where something that big happened. But hopefully one day, man. One day, why not?
Yeah, heck yeah. Maybe I'll bring you somehow. You know what I mean?
I will be honored. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. I love going to those places, and those like once you meet them and you've worked with them and sent them money and done projects and things, they're just like, oh yeah, man, come on down anytime and just walk in, tell us you're here. You know what I mean? Like, you become
Yeah,
buddies with them, and then it's just like a totally different game, you know.
yeah, yeah.
But yo, just before we hear your second song,
Hmm.
is there any approach that you take to that you think is like unique to you that no other artist does? Either like whether like writing or recording or like during studio time, it could be anything.
Right. Um, I think the kind of USP that I found for myself was saying the same things that people say or people are supposed to say, or people try to make music in a very delicate way, in a very calm way, in a very sophisticated way. And I feel like people accept the idea of a calm person in a very nicer way than person who's just shouting or just screaming sometimes. I'm not trying to undermine someone, but I feel like that's the kind of identity that I found myself most comfortable in. And I made a lot of songs in doing digression stuff too, but I could never relate to that. That was not me. And
Mm.
yeah, I don't want to say
You
that I
put a
never
lot
did
of
that.
time, yeah. You put a lot of time into like the analysis of like the moods of the music and stuff. You know what I mean? Compared to
Yeah,
many artists that are just like, let's rock. You know. I like it.
I still
It's
meet
like
those
this
people. Yeah,
pinpoint approach. You know what I mean? Where it's like
yeah,
calculated almost, right?
yeah. And yeah, I think I got that experience from making people listen to my songs more. And you have to kind of be like shameless in trying to like just show your art in kind of way.
Yeah, like you get
And
nervous like before, right? When you first
yeah,
started doing that, right?
sweating so much, trust me.
Oh yeah, face beat red, the whole thing, right?
Yeah, so that's the idea of how I approach a song. I think I have a very breathy way of saying stuff, and it comes naturally. It does not come like I have to fake it. And I just try to use that now more towards my songs. And I try to show people and ask, what do you think with the feedback? Someone who knows music, someone who does not know music. And I think I give a very hard time to mixing engineers, I guess, when it's a very breathy tone. So
It's a
that's why
little
I say
harder
like
to
it's
like
very
tune and stuff if you have to, right? Like certain processes are a
exactly,
little bit more of a challenge, yeah.
exactly. So it's not just you can just put compression, yeah, you're done, and EQ and you're done. So sometimes it takes time, and I think through that, all of that, and through my perspective of just being the kind of person that I am now, or kind of person that I've started to become now, and express those stuff. And I've understood that maybe I used to think that maybe and I think everybody starts to feel like a mean character, and they're like, oh, maybe I'm just like that, and people are gonna follow me. And it's rather than I am like that, and people are like me, and maybe they're not also being related to, and this is the kind of music maybe they would like, or maybe some part of them is still like that, because most of the people are also trying to pretend someone they're not sometimes.
Yeah, a lot of
And I don't
people
blame
have
them.
like dichotomy
Yeah,
within them, right? Like
yeah, I think it's a defensive mechanism as well. When you're trying to be someone else in front of people that you're very nervous, you just don't want to break down. And I think it's a very strong approach, but at the same time they want to feel accepted. And I think music does that acceptance in kind of way. So I think, yeah, that's the approach that I try to take. But my new music, or the kind of music that I've been trying to make right now, starts to develop a lot of bit spirituality in kind of way, and lots of observations, and lots of stuff talking about God and love, and not just praising God and just doing like questioning God a lot of the time, and the things why they exist and why they happen and stuff. So yeah, it's the more idea that I find myself more comfortable. And I feel like more artists might be doing the same stuff, but this is where I'm more happy and more,
no, I
I
can
could
tell you
say,
right away it's
doing like a
unique
deep
because
research.
I've done 46 episodes, right? And I don't
Yeah,
think I've ever heard that as like an answer before. So it's got to be pretty unique, you know?
thank you so much. I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
man. Heck yeah. Well, I think the name of the next song is perfect for what we just talked about. It's called Immerse
Yeah,
Me In. It's
yeah.
coming out in October-ish, right? This year,
Hopefully, yeah,
2026.
yeah.
Tell everybody about that track before we play it.
So, Immerse Me In is part of an album that I'm trying to do that's called Talking to God, Volume 1. So, that's the idea that how you invited me on a podcast, I invited God on a podcast. And I'm the one who's asking questions. And not necessarily the God is answering, but they are trying to show me a perspective. So in this song,
Interesting.
it talks about loneliness, and I'm asking God, why do you keep me lonely? I was always a good guy. I always listen to all of the things that you say. I try to do good to other people. Why was I was someone who felt lonely all the time? And I think this is the first song where I'd give a response from the God, and it's not a response; it's a perspective where God talks, or God. I'm not referring God as like a person, or like, like a gender, or like expressions, or like with emotions. It's more like an energy, and it's like how they're answering back or showing me a perspective that I was born in a family. I had people around me when I was doing the same stuff, and if you think about that in perspective of God, God has been someone who's been alone since the start of the time. So it's not just you who's experiencing loneliness, maybe God is experiencing loneliness too. So you're part of the same
Interesting.
energy.
Yeah, yeah.
And that in kind of way does not make me um go crazy, or does not make me say I'm sorry. I think it just opens my mind, and that's what I try to do in this track.
Nice. Well, yo, let's hear that track.
Sure.
मेरे रब्बा दस दे मैनू क्यों अकेला रहूं मुझे अपने में बसा ले मेरे रब्बा दस दे मैनू क्यों अकेला रहूं मुझे अपने में बसा ले बैठा मैं रब नाल पुछा कई सवाल मेरे जीवन बारे सी कई ख्याल जिन्ने भी पल सोचा आंदा मैनू एयो यार कल्ला किना रहिंदा सी पुछे ना कोई हाल मेरे रब्बा भी ऐदा क्यों तू ऐदा जग बनाया मेरे नाल क्यों आ सिर्फ काला पर छाया क्यों बंदा पैसा लब्बे नशे ते सारे माया इन्हां दे पिछे क्यों करे है अपना टाइम जाया क्यों ना दिखे इनू समय दा इन्ना बड़ा झोल पैसा नशा कूड़ी लगदा या बहुत मोल पर जदों आवे बुरे समय दा बड़ा है बोझ फिर समझ जावे कि रेहा ना कोई ओदे कोल करा भी कोई ना गलत करम सोचा भी इन्ना बारे आंदी मैनू बहुत शर्म फिर क्यों हकदार मैं भी कले समय दा कि कीता ऐदा कि मेरे नाल कोई ना रलदा सीगा मैं जला के हर रब्बा ते तो रुसदा कल्ला तू छड़े मैनू विच क्यों ना घुसदा करा मैं ब्रीम तेनू छड़े मैनू तू अलोन तू की जाने औखा कि ना होंदा या कल्ला सुन गला नु सुन रब्बा रहे मुस्कुराए कुछ ना बोले ते मेरी गल सुनी जाए कहंदे सुन मेरी गल तू भी ध्यान नाल मैं ता सीगा तेरे हर ओ पड़ाव नाल पर जे तू गला करे कल्ला ऐदा होण दी लवी थोड़ा वजन मेरे सारी ऐ भूल दी तू ता होया बड़ा विच एक परिवार नाल मैं ता कल्ला उदों दा जदों संसार ना
Welcome back to the Put Up, everybody. I'm A.K.A. the Wizard, and we have Gurvansh Batra with us today, all the way from Australia. Like, share, and subscribe down below if you still haven't. And we're gonna hop back in here. The song that we just heard right there is called "Immerse Me In." Dude, it has like a freaking like cinematic vibe to it. Like it could have been from a movie, right?
Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
idea.
it's
That's the
crazy.
idea. Influences that I was talking about. I worked at an assistant director, so yeah.
Right? So just like naturally having that ability to like produce something that like fits right inside of like a Disney movie. That's amazing.
Hopefully, thank you so much. That's very kind of you.
And then to know a little more about like how you have that like calm approach and all that stuff about it on purpose. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's just
Hmm.
like now I'm getting it when I hear it. You know what I mean? I
Right,
like it.
right.
Yeah, that's very cool.
I'm very glad that I could convey my ideas the way it is to you, and I think that's a privilege that I have.
Yeah, man, it's Some wild stuff to think about. Okay, so we're gonna talk about connecting with your audience now. Like, how do you? And it just fits perfectly because you already talked about that a little bit before. Like,
Right.
how do you make your art relatable to them? What are you hoping for them to get out of it when they hear it? All that fun stuff.
Right. I think when I try to present a project, what I want people to understand is, first of all, acceptance. I think one of the biggest thing that people don't understand is acceptance in a particular way, because I think we've been trained and made in such a way that we have to reject ideas, or we have to reject modernity, or we have to reject a particular system. I think acceptance also comes along with the rejection. If you're rejecting stuff, you should also accept stuff. And I feel like everybody gets lonely, everybody gets spiritual, everybody gets in kind of way happy, sad, which is fine, but it's how you accept that. And I
Well,
feel
I
like that's
think
what
by
my idea
rejecting
is.
something, right, you're automatically accepting something else too at the same time, regardless,
I could
right?
I could agree with you perfectly, but I feel like everything can be rejected and accepted. For example, if I feel lonely, I would not, like, for me as a person, I'm not trying to judge anyone else, but let's see, me as a person, I would say, why am I lonely? I should have someone. I deserve someone. I need this. So I accept the idea of having someone, but I also need to accept the idea of that life is, part of life is being lonely. Part of life
Yeah,
is
sometimes lonely,
accepting those
right?
ideas. Yeah. And accepting that thing makes me grow more as a person, because I understand myself more. And I think that's the idea that people don't understand, because right now we have social media, we have so much stuff to get our dopamine, and I'm
Just
also
being
part of it.
bombarded, right? Like
Yeah,
nonstop. Yeah.
yeah, unfortunately, I'm also part of it, and I get a lot of time to social
Unfortunately.
media as well. And I think once I start to shut it off and put my phone aside and think about life and myself, that's where I get these ideas. That's how I get these observations, the craft, the music, and I think that's the idea that I want to share as well, because I would love to have more creators who are listening to me. I don't want to be the only artist who is just putting out stuff. Do music, do art, do dance. Like, there's so many art forms. Like, I'm doing architecture as well to just explain so many things. But the idea from architecture is that I'm not designing places for myself. I'm designing places for my
Right, to
client.
share with other people, right?
Exactly, exactly. So I'm trying to convey ideas of someone else, and that's coming out. Where do my ideas go, right? I'm not gonna go and hire another architect for me, so that's gonna be weird. Like, so that's the idea. Like, taking out your emotions and your ideas and your things that's been buried inside you in an artistic way, and that's why these art forms exist.
Nice. Yeah,
So
it's like the
yeah,
same idea as playing live, right? Where you want more and more people to see you that haven't. It's like if the same
yeah,
crowd showed up every time, you'd be like, guys, go home and let somebody else come. You know what I mean? I love it. And you want like more to experience that same thing, right? It's like a gift to
yeah,
everybody. It's like, guys, you
yeah.
gotta see what it is, you know? And that's probably one of like the hardest things as an independent artist is just putting yourself out there and letting everybody see part of you that they've never seen, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
True, true, true.
Yeah, it's so good. But I mean, it's like required if you're gonna make art, pretty much, right? At some point, I was actually talking to my daughters about that, and it's like she had to make a little video project where she had to play. You know those skits where it's like you're there and you're also there talking to you, right? That kind of thing for like school. And she's like, guys, the hardest thing I've ever done is like having to like portray somebody else than I am. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like acting like that. And it's just you talking to you, but it's like you got to be two different things, right? And just like
Very
feeling
true.
stupid, feeling self conscious inside of you on a camera, like getting past all these things, right?
Very true. Very true.
It's just
I
like my
totally agree.
first episode on here. You should have seen how like unput together I am, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't
That
even look at
happens.
the
That's
camera.
okay.
You know what I mean? Now I realize
I,
like, oh, even though I'm like you're up there, but I gotta look here so that it like looks right for the people when they see it. You know what I mean?
right, right, right,
Yeah, it was bad.
right.
If you go back and watch, you're like, oh, you know, I had to drink beer on like some of the episodes just to like calm down while I was like on breaks and stuff, you know?
Exactly. I'm
Pathetic now
happy
that I
you're
think
here.
about
You learned so much,
it. Yeah, we're
and that's
just
the journey
you
for
grow
you
over
too.
time. Right. You just
Yeah,
grow over time. You learn how to talk better in front of people, and it's changed how I meet people now too when I'm out in public, you know what I mean?
exactly.
I'm
Yeah,
very less like inhibitive when it comes to like talking to somebody that I've never talked to before. It's like nothing for
right.
me to do that now, you know what I mean? It's just like doing this growth over time to like, and I think it's required for every artist ever. Because like to
I
get on
totally
a
agree.
stage, do all these things. If you're gonna sign autographs, you're gonna have to talk to the guy. You know what I mean? Like that whole thing.
Right. And you know how you portray that thing in current kind of like a comfort. I portray that kind of a calmness, like how I was anxious before, and slowly I
Right.
started to do
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
and
Hmm.
that's the idea for me. That's where, yeah,
I like that actually. That the whole idea of like nervousness could just be like anxiety, and then like learning is calming. Then like giving names
yeah,
to those different emotions or whatever. I like that.
yeah.
Hmm. Cool.
So that's, yeah, that's your perspective, and I respect that. That's that how I look at it. Maybe that comes in your art, and that's why I listen to your art, because I want to know your perspective of things.
Yeah, that's amazing. Okay, so
Yeah,
like tell everybody what you're working on right now. What's coming
right.
up? These tracks that you heard today are coming out in October. What else do you got going on?
So I got a full album called Talking to God. And so right now my catalog is more talking about more of the hardcore stuff that I was doing, more of the rap stuff I was doing with other artists as well. I love to collaborate with people, and I've had like, so I don't know if people know about this. Like India has a lot of ciphers nowadays. So I went to
Ciphers.
ciphers. Yeah, I went to
Interesting.
ciphers, mosh pits, been to those places. A lot of artists who liked my work as well, but I still told them about my vision, and they were like, kind of like, okay, this is not exactly rap, and I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Maybe I'm just gonna find a bridge, and and yeah, so work with those artists, and those kind of projects are still out. And now I'm trying to divert my projects and my catalog towards who I am. So it's a slow diversion. It's not like instantly I'm just dropping a hardcore project and the next one is really soft. So I'm trying to make myself go into the idea of this person who was doing hardcore slowly, goes through love and rejection and starts to find themselves. And I'm working on a project called Talking to God, where I bring God and I talk about lots of stuff. So I've made like a whole list of people who could, talk about, give me a lot of projects or a lot of topics. Wrote down the topics, chose these are the ones that I could actually relate to, because I cannot relate to everyone, but I can relate to the common topics that everybody has. Made them a list, then thought about how, if I would go and ask the questions, and how the questions are going to be, and how God is going to interpret that. Because even if I'm being rude, God is not going to be the one who's going to be offended. It's going to be people who will seem to be going to be offended. So I need to understand that as well. So I like lots of perspectives going on, and that's the idea I'm working on right now, called Talking to God. And I think the genres that I love making is neo soul now, and jazz, rap, and R&B, and I think I made it like house track too, but I think this still didn't work, and I'm trying to make it like soothing kind of way. So yeah, I'm still kind of like in that
Well, and I
process.
love like the Indian instrumentation, right? Like those drum sounds and things that you're doing with it.
Yeah,
Cause like,
yeah,
okay, so I've worked with like a Punjabi artist locally here for a little tiny bit, like probably 5 or 6 years ago or something like that. And
perfect.
so I made
Yeah,
it like it was like my immersion into all these different instruments for the first time ever, right? I was like, how am I going to
right.
make something sound Indian? I'm like a Canadian, you know what I mean? Like we're used to
Of
making
course, makes
something like
sense.
gangster rap, kind of like trap sound, right? So then it
Yeah,
was like,
yeah,
yeah, trying out these different, like a sitar on a freaking track kind of thing, right? Like that kind of stuff. I respect it, man. It's an entire different thing to like get into, you know what I mean?
yeah. And like I've personally seen Hollywood movies using Indian music all the time. So I'm like, these guys
Right,
already know, like they have an idea of what the Indian instrument is. They just don't know the name. And you see even, and they accepted of the ideas of the African elements. You see a lot of Afro beats are like right now
right.
charting off. So like, yeah, so acceptance is there, like in music you can see that, like there's so many influences and references. It's just that how you're gonna present yourself to the audience who are not just Indian, who's also, because I'll be very honest with you, Indian people, I think are, I don't want to say it in a bad way, but are mostly judged upon our fathers and
Mm,
upon the grandfathers who've been to, like, like foreign countries. And for the new generation or the Gen Zs or like those kind of people, they're like still very much connected to the Western world, and they're still connected to the cultures and the Western world. So you would see a lot of people speaking in a way like the way I'm talking. This is very normal in India, and I get that. Like my dad wasn't very familiar with these kind of people, the internet and everything, so he
right.
won't have that accent. So you would see Indian people also making music which sounds like actually Western music, and like, whoa, I never expected that, and that's fine.
That's very cool,
But
actually.
yeah, but the fact is, like, now we've started to find bridges, and how we can connect cultures, because the more connection you have with the culture and the Western world and like the other world. I do projects where there's like African instruments and Indian instruments,
There you
so
go.
collaboration always brings more listeners and more interest and more individuality and exploration and uniqueness. And I think, yeah, that's what I love. And I think I if I can work with Afro elements, anyone can work with Indian instruments. So
Nice. Yeah, it reminds me of another put up episode where I had a guy on from Nigeria, right?
right, yeah,
And like classically around here in like the 90s and 2000s, we were made to
mhm,
believe like Nigeria was like a third world country and like had no infrastructure, you know what I mean? And like barely had the internet, like all this bad stuff, right? And then I had him on there and he's like, "Yeah, man, we got the craziest music industry ever going on. Like we don't even need North America and stuff, you know what I mean? Like, and I was just in shock. I was like, dude, like there's so many other things going on modernly than we think, right?
right,
And to just hear that, it like confirms it just in a different country. It's amazing.
exactly, yeah. I don't think we reject the idea, but we
It's
actually
like we're
accept the
less different than
idea.
we think, you know, at
Yeah,
this
yeah,
point.
exactly.
Yeah, man. That's crazy to think about.
I was I was going through this show called Dexter. I don't know if you've
What's it called?
like heard
Sorry?
about it. Dexter. It's like a
Oh yeah.
psychological. It's a very
Yeah.
famous. Yeah, exactly. So Dexter, if you go through Dexter, it was made like in early 2000, I guess, if I'm
Right.
not wrong.
Yeah.
So it has tabla. You go and listen to the main track, and it's like tabla instruments going on. I was like, hold on, that's literally the instrument that I use all the
Right.
time, because I
Right.
used to play tabla and the piano, so I know those. And I was like, okay, so people know about those things. It's just that they don't know the name of that stuff.
And they don't equate it to like this foreign culture to them or whatever, right? It's just like a
Exactly,
sound at
exactly,
that point. Cool.
exactly. Yeah. So yeah,
That's
that was the
amazing.
idea, to like bridge gaps, and I think a lot of artists have been doing as well. So if you see right now, Ed Sheeran worked in India,
Right.
and then yeah, so like everybody's starting to understand that, and I think it's because of the internet now, and I'm happy like people are using it for a good
It
reason
kind
too.
of like busted everything open, right? Like everything's just kind of connected, interwebs. It's all like it's wild what's happened.
Yeah, I think that's perfect, man. You know how people do like cross albums and cross projects. I think that's a very good idea. I do all the time, so I
It's
love
like
that
with
concept as
808,
well.
right? Like I was just looking
Yeah,
for an EDM type dance sound for a track and I had like no way to make it myself. I make like rock music, right?
yeah.
And then I found him and he's like, "Yo, I'll do that for you." Right? And it was that whole
He was
kind
the
of thing. And it
perfect
was,
person.
yeah, right from Germany. And just like, boom, instantly connected Canada and Germany sounds together for that day, you know?
Yeah,
Like, what? That wasn't possible 10, 15 years ago, you know?
I think I might be wrong, but I think Ada is from Netherlands. If I'm not wrong, I'm not sure you did.
Somewhere over there, yeah, like right in
Yeah,
the.
somewhere over there. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, but I think the one thing I learned from him as well, shout out to 88 Refraction. I think I learned from him as well how to talk to people, how to just shamelessly go on people and just talk about it. And it's okay. People are gonna be mad about how you self promote yourself sometimes, but it's very important because that's how you reach people and you cover more ground.
Right.
So yeah, I mean,
Well, I
he
mean, thanks
did
for
Indian
coming on
tracks with
here,
me.
even. Yeah, it's
Thanks for
amazing.
inviting me. I really appreciate that. You took out so much time for me, and we had like 18 hours of difference, so it's like crazy because I think it must be very late for you or something.
I think it's almost 11. Yeah, it's about 11 right now.
Exactly. So it's really
Yeah,
late.
everybody that's watching, it was like interesting to try and like make the times align because it's tomorrow there for
Exactly.
you, right?
It's like 3 p.m. for me right now.
I
And
always
it's Friday.
say, yeah, like I'm in Thursday right now. How's the future looking? You know what I mean? Like you're already living in the future, in our opinion. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? Like how does this even work? Come on. How are we even streaming right now? You know what I mean? But I
It's a
love it,
beautiful
man.
thing.
Yeah, right? Like this was not possible, like just a little bit. And like, okay, think of this. Before the internet connected all of us, we didn't really understand time zones on the same level either, right?
Yeah,
To
exactly.
to see that like 2 p.m. and like 3 p.m. the next day are happening at the same freaking time kind of thing, right? And
Yeah,
like
exactly.
what did that do to the mind the first time somebody thought that? You know? It's a wild thing to think about. Yeah. Some people
It
are
is
gonna go off
crazy.
and like think about that for the rest of the day after they hear that.
It's also crazy how we think about how Australia and USA are actually very apart. But if you just think about it in a circle, we're actually more closer than you think.
Right? Just from the other side.
Exactly.
Because everybody sees that map like a certain like shape or whatever, right? And this one's over
Yeah.
here and this one's over here, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, if you
Exactly.
wrap it, all of a sudden, like it could be really close on the other side. You're just not like thinking of it the same way, right? You know, that's
Exactly.
crazy.
It's not that. Yeah. But
Okay,
then
so
we have there's so much difference as well.
yeah, man, for sure. And like just the cultures are completely different and everything too, right?
True.
Just
True.
wild.
Yeah.
Man.
18 hours
before-
is a lot of time. Sorry.
Yeah, man. No, before we go today, we want to make sure that everybody can follow along with you. That if they want to get in touch with you to collab with you, where did they do that? Like, how do we connect with you and keep up with you?
Right. So my name is Gurvansh Batra, which is usually the name I use everywhere. I don't used to use other names. I just go by my name. That's my parents gave me. So I'm just happy with that. So anywhere you can just type in Google or like Instagram, you just get me. It's that simple.
It's funny because I test every once in a while. I'll go on Google and just like Google A.K.A. the Wizard or whatever to make sure, you know. And if it says
Yeah.
it's me still, I'm like, yes, okay, everybody can find me still.
Yeah, exactly. I have a unique name. It's a tough name,
Yeah,
not
right?
gonna lie. People take time to like say it, but that's fine. You nailed it the perfect so the first time, so I'm very happy about it. Thank you for
Yeah,
that.
heck yeah. I've got experience, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I could see that. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, so everybody go and follow Gurvansh if you haven't. I'll have all of his links below here today too. And like everywhere
you.
that I can find. Yeah, maybe I don't know, even maybe like a link for the Google search or something. Just But man, thanks for coming on the show today. That concludes
Thanks
the
for inviting me.
interview.
I'm really, really honored. Thank you so much. It's very nice of you guys to call me here and give your time to me.
And you also shared some like deep information for like artists, like tips and stuff for them today. You know?
Hopefully.
Yeah.
I'm an artist exploring myself, so I just can share what I've been through, and I'm very happy. I'm very happy to get information from you. Like I'm learning so much from you today. Sorry if I spoke too much and I didn't get you time. So
it's all
that's
good.
bad on me. Yeah.
No, it's a perfect amount. Honestly, I loved it.
Thank you so much for being so patient with me.
But otherwise, that's it, man. We're gonna sign off. Everybody else watching today, have a great afternoon, and make sure that you sign up if you're interested in wanting to put up episodes yourself. And I'm trying to think. I have an artist next week coming up. Jonathan Panetta will be up next week, so watch out for that episode to drop. And otherwise, have a great Sunday afternoon, and cheers. Peace out.